And we are live on our regular day once again, everyone. Welcome to the spoiler room. We're closing out our month of the hunters. The hunting is concluding, folks. We've come to the end of the hunt, but we've got one more hunt to go on with a hunter.
Red
And
October.
yes. And let's see how many times I can say the word hunt. Hi, how's everybody doing today? Yes. Thank you for venturing down the stairs, pulling up a chair, and popping your favorite drink with us. I've got some more damn good brandy old fashioned in a can, and Ian, I imagine, has coffee.
Well, I'm switching to water.
Oh, you're switching to water.
I'm still on East Coast time, so I can't. I need to get some sleep.
And Cara, what are you drinking? Anything?
No.
Hey, well, there you go. See, you got a little bit of everything here in the spoiler room tonight. And speaking of which, yes, we are looking at something that has or tries to do a little bit of everything in a film from 2007 called Rise Blood Hunter, starring Lucy Liu. And I've got a wonderful crew assembled tonight to talk about this film. You heard her voice as she is back with us from the horror retrospective. It's Cara. Hello, Cara. How are you?
Hello. Once again, glad to be here.
Happy you're here, especially to talk about this one. Give us an interesting perspective, so it's not just me and Ian going back and forth. And Ian is here with us tonight. He hasn't run away or called me vicious names for our debate we had for a film just before we got on the show here, but he keeps coming back for more.
You gotta check out the patron episode for that one, folks. It's a doozy.
It's a doozy, but he's still talking to me, so we're all on good terms here. So, Ian, so glad you could be with us tonight to talk about Rise Blood Hunter.
Me too.
After a conversation before the show and now this, Ian is starting. This is where Morgan Freeman comes in. It was at this point where Ian started to question his life choices. Well, guess what, Ian?
No, Mark. I'm gonna.
Doctor, no.
Mark, here, I have to give a disclaimer. I am not proud of this, but okay, Rise Blood Hunter. Oh my God, it's an hour and 37 minutes. I watched 45 minutes of this movie, and then I watched the rest. But during the back half of it, I was reading articles that I found linked on Twitter.
Wow.
It was on my laptop. I was watching it out of the corner of my eye, and every once in a while I would turn my attention fully back to the screen, and then I would abruptly go back to Twitter because there is nothing interesting going on in this movie. I was offended by its mediocrity. I was astounded by its list of its guest stars. Nick Lachey, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I could give you the high point of it. I took some notes down, but yeah, my notes stop the moment I got distracted. I'm like, I wonder what's going on in social media. And then, yeah, there's just nothing. So I'm going to rely on most of you for memory. And then I'll offer commentary as I can. But no synopsis. That's not a good idea, Mark.
Well, thank you for your honesty, sir. That's what I always love about you is that you are definitely honest in your opinions.
I really tried to hold on, and I just couldn't. I had to finish the movie, but I had to. I pulled the alarm.
You pulled the alarm. Wow. I don't think we've had a film like that for a while to where you really just checked out of it. That's been a little while. And you've been on here a long time, sir, like almost 3-4 years now. So, yeah, I know. And you're still here. And
Yeah.
Kara keeps coming back as well. I mad respect for
I
that.
just like bad movies.
Well, then you could give if you. I know you actually watched the film early, but if you could give us a brief synopsis of Rise Blood Hunter. Otherwise, I can do it.
um, so I had seen this years ago, and now I've rewatched it 2 more times. And um, What I will come off of it is I didn't catch it originally, but this seems to, even though it's a vampire film, fit that rape revenge genre as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I didn't write the character's name, but Lucy Liu, she starts off as an innocent reporter. She looks into, I know I always do like some weird sales pitch, as you say. But yeah, after being murdered for getting too close, she comes back from the dead and she's after the guys that killed her, um, as far as I remember.
Yes,
And
and the guys that killed her were vampires.
yeah, so she comes back as somebody not too happy to be a vampire, but she's okay with killing villains.
Well, yeah.
That contradicts, though. It's like, okay, she'll kill and feed off of a villain, but she won't kill an innocent person or that sleazy hitchhiker that she picked up. Like she felt bad about that one, even though she knew he was lying to her.
What was the lie? I missed because I was paying attention to that part, and I felt bad for that hitchhiker. There are a couple of murders in here, like with the homeless guy in the shelter that she stayed at. You know, I guess she felt really bad about doing it, but these were not indications I needed to get behind this character at all. I think it was my biggest problem with this movie is I hated the lead character. I mean, I like Lucy
Oh,
Liu as an actress,
yeah.
but as a character, I'm like, why am I supposed to root for you or care that you know, succeed?
I mean,
Yeah.
she was kind of too whiny about it. Like I can understand being hurt and wanting to get back at somebody, but if you're a vampire, you're a vampire. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, what are your thoughts?
Well, um, my thoughts on it are someone wanted really, really badly to make a female Blade film, and they also wanted to try to add other elements to it and ended up not accomplishing any of it fully. There's like a lot of partial ideas. Like you said, there's an inconsistency with her Sadie character once she turns vampire. To where on one hand she's got this moral debate of she doesn't want to kill people, but she does. The first time I could see, because her hunger is so bad and she's in the homeless shelter and she does it, she feels bad. I get, okay, we've seen that before. She couldn't
Mhm.
help herself. She was driven, though it wasn't directed that well. She was driven to feed that time. The hitchhiker, we literally go from a part where she's debating in a flashback with this character Arturo, who is vaguely there, but like a mentor to her. Vaguely, we don't get a whole lot of that. I'm assuming because of budget, but we get this flashback where she talks about how she doesn't want to kill innocents. And
Mhm.
literally, and this might be the editing. Literally, like in the next scene, she's picking up a hitchhiker, and she's like, "Oh, I don't need it that bad." And then she's like, "No, yeah, I do." And she she feeds on him, and I'm like,
But she kind of does this like Scarlett Johansson in My Skin questionnaire with him, like, okay,
"Yeah,
are you married? Do you have a guy? How do you have a guy? I don't know. That's his business. Do you
yeah,
have a wife? Do you have any kids? Anyone that depends on you? Like she was still trying to determine. And I think for me, what really did it is originally he said, no, I don't have a girlfriend. I'm like, he could have had a wife. I mean, that
right,
might be a white lie, but I mean, for me, what I consider the lie is like when she starts coming on to him, I'm like, okay, did you just not want to give your gender, or were you like looking to, you know, fool around behind someone's back when the
Well, I mean,
original
that's
answer
still
was no?
well, I mean, that still doesn't warrant the death penalty. I mean, that's no.
Well, if he's looking to cheat on somebody, I mean,
yeah,
that's a villain.
yeah." Well, that's
Uh,
true, but in the way the situation was, though, she was extraordinarily forward, and he even seemed like he was still a bit up for debate until she just mauls him. I get what they were going for, and I get what you're saying, Kara, but at the same time, it was hard to gauge whether or not he truly was lying or if he was just trying to figure out the situation because, he's suddenly in a situation that he only had read about in magazines. So,
I mean, he was okay with offering weed. He just didn't want to give her the booty.
That's true.
Well, he had said, I think, I'm trying to remember this from the other day, but I think he had said something about like, she asked if he had a girlfriend, and at some point he said it was nothing serious. So it's not like, so it's not, but either way, I don't agree with cheating on people and all the other stuff. But if the line is, I'm going to judge you based on what I think, the things that you're doing wrong in your life, someone that I met 5 minutes ago, and if that's not satisfactory, then I'm going to kill you. I mean, that's just, I can't.
I mean,
but this is not protagonist behavior.
Girls gotta eat. It really felt like they were trying to play almost like a Blade card with her character, but just came up short and everything with it. The moral dilemma you didn't really buy with her. What's also interesting is for a vampire film, these are the least martial arts, super fighting, mega power inclined vampires I've seen. Like they've got they feed and they can take some bullets.
Yeah. But they can take bullets, but you can't knock her in the head and her be fine. She passes out.
Well, I wrote this down in my notes. I would say 30% of this movie is scenes of Lucy Liu waking up or passing out.
Being naked.
and in various stages of disclothing. Yeah.
I
mean,
like she's a nice lady, but I mean, was that really necessary?
It wasn't. Most of it was not. It didn't make it. I mean, it was solely there for the exploitation factor, a lot of it. And maybe, again, they were trying to play at the exploitation factor that we see in a lot of vampire films, but it just handled, like pretty much everything else, very clunky. The film is very clunky in its handling. Its rules aren't established at all with your vamp. There are no rules, and at least even semi, even ones that are only semi good, usually they establish some kind of rule with your vampires. And here, we don't really have rules with the vampire.
Don't play with your food.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You mentioned this is more of like a rape revenge, movie.
It does, yeah.
Because when you look at your vampires, there's a couple of scenes of them, feeding, like when, oh my gosh, the daughter.
The party?
Yeah, like Trisha, who's the daughter of Michael Chiklis's character, the cop. When she goes to look for her friend and she goes into this dungeon, she sees these two vampires feeding on her friend. That's all, it's very 2007, the crazy editing and the music and all that stuff. But as far as the vampires go, there aren't any, like, as far as I can remember, vamping out scenes. There's no like crazy over the top makeup or like, demon face kind of things. And when they get shot, she goes around just like shooting these things in the chest with a, little crossbow. They don't like explode or dissipate into dust. You just see them like kind of like fall backwards and they're just dead. I mean, this could have been just a rape revenge movie without no supernatural element in it.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're kind of like interjecting for yourself, I mean, they could have been silver arrows or whatever.
Yeah.
And that might be the reason why.
That's what I suspect they were, is they were silver arrows. There was probably a scene on the cutting room floor describing this, because we lose a lot of the mentorship training that you kind of expect is going to naturally happen when Arturo saves her after she throws herself off a bridge, in oncoming traffic. You're like, oh, she's going to heal up and he's going to train her. We're going to get Euro best around. Nothing's going to ever, fight, Rocky montage type. She's learning some martial arts moves, and then he trains her about how to kill vampires by a silver dart in the heart with get it? With a crossbow. You don't get that.
Sounds like
and granted,
dart in the heart.
It does, right? Now there's a band for you. The vampire, you could do a vampire themed band with Dart and a Heart. There you go. But you don't get any of that. And while I don't need my handheld, you do need some of these establishing things so you at least understand the world that these characters are in.
Well, it's the Twilight problem, because you can have a genre film about vampires in which the vampires don't explode or they don't really vamp out or anything. But that's the same thing with Twilight. Oh, our vampires, they walk around in the sunlight and they sparkle and they don't really turn into monsters. They just, look lustfully at each other. That's a certain kind of expectation, especially when you're watching something. It's like Lucy Liu is going to go hunt vampires. I mean, even the Buffy TV show was edgier than this shit.
Yeah. I mean, other than always looking at Lucy Liu, and I mean, that it motivated me to start working out again, but
Me too, honestly.
Yeah, me too. I'm just like, oh man, okay, I gotta start walking more or something.
I gotta lose some weight. Am I right?
Oh, there you go. But
that was unforgivable.
That was well, that's a dad joke, so it's okay. You're okay. That's definitely a dad joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was wondering about that, Kara. What you thought of that? It really seems like Lucy loses her clothes for no particular reason a lot in this movie. And again, I don't know if they're trying to be edgy or if it serves a purpose or serves like they don't care. What'd you think of that?
just trying to keep the audience watching.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty bland story. Like, there's nothing in there as Ian said, like there's nothing in there that really makes me want to connect to a character or relate to them. It's just they're just little stick figures.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's kind of sad because it was great to see Mako in this. This is one of the last films. The only other film that he did before he passed was he was the voice in TMNT, which came out the same year that this did, the animated film. But this was Mako's last on-screen film, I believe. And it was great to see him, even for a small time. And he does get this, probably the best, if not brief, brutal fight between him and, Lucy Liu. It's probably the only time we get to see kind of vampire-type things to where these two are just smashing each other's heads into the porcelain in a bathroom. But again, that I think goes along with what you said, Kara. But and then Lucy Liu gets hit in the head once and she passes out. But she could take those hits from Mako in the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, to me, and I could be wrong, but it felt more like a straight to video. Like I never saw any promotion for this. I discovered it years after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the best part of the film, in my opinion, was Robert Forster.
Yeah.
Who's in it for 3 minutes in the beginning. Like, I think he's the first, or one of the first people you see.
He is.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, holy shit, Robert Forster, this movie is going to be great.
Yeah.
And then he gets, cock blocked sort of at the bar by Cameron Richardson's character. And then we never see him again. What?
He was cat blocked.
He was cat blocked. There you go. Yeah, one of the many cameos that ends up showing up in this film. You're just like one of those where you forget. I mean, again, we mentioned Chickless ends up, in here. Alan Rich shows up in here. I mean, you're just watching this going, what are they doing in here? And then they're gone. Mako shows up. It's like, I recognize you people.
Marilyn Manson is the bartender.
Yeah. That's originally why I had watched this film. Is I had read somewhere that he was in this, and I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. But on the other hand, it's kind of like, it's weird, like actually being able to see your real face.
not in makeup. It is so weird seeing him not in makeup that you don't even realize really that it's him. Mm-hmm. And again, with all these elements and actors, it's this gimmick where you feel like they're trying to play like this is the start of something, And apparently it played at the Tribeca Film Festival, and then it kind of yes, this played at Tribeca, and it had theatrical release to Okay, guess how many days it lasted in the theaters. It did have a
Half.
limited theatrical release.
Half
Five.
of one screening.
No. Cara, what do you think?
Oh, I had guessed 5 days. Maybe I just
No,
overguessed.
it was actually limited release to a limited number of theaters for 14 days. 14 days it was in the theaters, limited screening, which I'm assuming means probably only the big markets for maybe distribution. I don't know.
Well,
But
it's Ghost House, and I'm like, well, I still figured it would have had better promotion.
yeah. Yeah, it surprised me when I saw the tag in the beginning. I forgot this was Ghost House. I'm like, holy crap, this is Ghost.
Yeah.
You know,
I thought it was
and
going to be better because I saw Ghost House.
Despite that, I'm pretty sure it's going to do better than The Flash.
wow, you just
I love The Flash, Mark. You know I do, but historic bomb.
which yeah, that's a whole other conversation of how media paints certain films that have the same budget and do the same thing at the box office, yet two different headlines. But anyway,
What? No.
One's an innie, one's an outie.
What?
Exactly. Yeah.
Why have one standard when you can have double the standards?
One's House of Mouse and one's of DCU, and let's just leave it at that. But back to Rise. Yeah, this is one of those two where you're seeing them try to do something and it just come up. I don't know if it's the lack of budget. The director also wrote this, and he did mostly direct to video fare. He did direct, but not write, a film called Judas Kiss with Alan Rickman back in it was, later 90s. 98, I think it was. He did that. It wasn't that great. A lot of people watch it because it had Alan Rickman in it. Because he's one of those actors that you're just like, oh, Alan Rickman's in it? I'll watch this.
Right.
It's Paint Dry 2, The Second Coat. And you're like, I don't care. Alan Rickman's sitting here watching Paint Dry. I'll watch Alan Rickman watch Paint Dry. And that's just like Lucy Liu. In 2007, she was kind of, she was getting those, the top work. She was the buzz about. And it really makes you feel like they were trying to come up with a franchise with her with this.
Well, that's the thing, is not really. It definitely feels like it should be setting up a franchise, but at the end of this movie, she dies. Like, that was the whole, like,
Oh, well, I watched all the way to the end credits, and I saw the morgue door kick open.
Yeah. You gotta watch it all the way to the end, and then the door kicks open to
wait,
the
you're talking
morgue
about like at
again.
the very end, like after the end credits? Oh,
Yeah.
fuck that. No. I'm not, no. I saw written and directed by Sebastian Gutierrez, and I turned that fucker off. There's no way. That does not count.
Yes, she kicked the door open. So
I want to blame partially, like, it could be just a badly written story, or
yeah.
I was also weirded out by Lucy Liu. Like, I know you don't do Botox, but where's your facial expression?
Yeah. And yeah, it makes me wonder if she, this was a paycheck movie for her, maybe. It's hard to say because I don't feel anything for her character, and she I don't know if it's the way she was directed, maybe, but her character shows very little emotion. But I mean, there's moments like when she does her feeding, she cries out, and then there's a few other spots. But for the most part, you're right. She's like, just, yeah, I'm here. The check cleared. Let's go.
Yeah.
Very much so. It's weird
Yeah,
because. Oh,
I
go
was
ahead.
weirded out that she even showed up in this. I'm like, I thought you were a bigger actor than that.
Well, that's what's weird about it. I mean, this is after she had been in what? Kill Bill? This is after Lucky Number 11, after the Charlie's Angels. Were all like before. That's why I was saying that Lucy Liu was kind of the big deal for a while during this point, where she was showing up in a lot of, bigger or action films or such. She was, and then she did this. this, and it's like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
What is it? He pulled a what the hell? Eric Roberts. I'm sorry, the name wasn't coming
Oh,
to me.
oh yeah, she pulled an Eric Roberts. Hey, they got this shooting schedule. I got some free time. Here's a check. All right, let's go.
Hmm.
I get to travel. They get to pay for my travel and everything. So there.
But it's like that's what she's kind of leaning on if she's
Yeah.
not careful. It's like you're going to be like another, Eric Roberts, and I'm going to know if I see your name or your picture, it's not worth watching.
Wow. But how do you truly feel about those movies? Yeah, this is a weird film. It's got all these elements and none of them connects. I keep saying it, but it's true. I'm trying to think of stuff that connected well, and it doesn't. Just when you think they start to do something, and then they throw this twist in. You've got Michael Chiklis in here as a detective who doesn't show up for most of the film, yet he's on the heels. He's thinking Sadie may have did these murders for whatever reason because Sadie had interviewed his daughter who was part of a cult, and
Yeah.
she supposedly was dead like Sadie was, but then at the end we get the twist
Uh-huh.
of Kara yawns at the
Sorry.
wasn't this a confusing and kind of like, wow, you even got M. Night going. What?
He's like, I've got to take more notes.
he's like, this twist is bad,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what she had against her father or if that was just the vampire programming.
It's hard to say, but the fact that she showed up at all when they pretty much established she was dead. It was her friend though who had her arm ripped off, not her. So I guess that's how she could come back. But I don't know. Yeah, what I did you catch the twist in between your doom scrolling?
I don't know if I consider it a twist because that was how Sadie became a vampire. Was she was like clinically dead and in the morgue,
Right.
and then she woke up. So when I saw Trisha come back, I was like, all right, so they're going to play this out. They're going to do the whole thing where there's a standoff where Daddy can't see that his precious little girl is turned evil, and Sadie's got to stop her and all this other stuff. And then you've got the head vampire. Look, I still can't get over the fact that Carla Gugino's character wasn't like the lead vampire in this movie, because when she shows up on screen, she's got like presence, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
and I don't mind James Darcy. I've seen him in a couple of other things, but you put him and Carla Gugino on a screen together and you're saying they're both vampires. Who do you want to see make it to the end? James Darcy is dead before I can finish that question.
Oh, like totally off topic, but you reminded me just super random. The what is it? The girl that Bishop kills, the swimming pool girl. I want to say that's a James Bond reference. I don't remember which movie, but the one where the woman died and she was covered in gold and
Goldfinger.
Oh, Goldfinger. Yeah.
I thought the exact same thing because she was draped across the bed, but in this one she was completely covered in red. I did think about that, so maybe that I'll give this movie a 1/4 star based on that.
Bloodfinger. Whoa, 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 whoa.
That could be an entirely different kind of movie, Mark, and I will not support that on this show.
Sorry.
oh no, that's Ian's thing.
Hey,
Well,
hey,
maybe it
hey.
should have been rewritten or subplotted this way. And I'm sure we're going to hear one of those eventually.
Well. No,
You threw him off his game now. Now he's thinking about it. He wasn't before, but now you got him thinking about it now.
I really
Well, I
am,
wasn't
but
trying to.
no, it's okay. I got the whole prelude. I'm working on the end credit sequence right now. It's all going through my head. So
there you go. I'll beat Ian to it. There is a good movie in there somewhere or a good idea. It just I don't know what they're going for. I mean, you're right. The rape revenge angle, they play that. We learn to find out that Sadie even though initially what's presented to the audience customer, the audience is she shows up, she gets hit in the head or whatnot, suddenly, boom, she shows up in the morgue, and then we get more and more flashback. We find out that they fed on her for quite some time, and the one character said, "Yeah, we thought you'd be dead by then, but you didn't have any blood left, but you still were living." And so I thought, why not turn you? I'm like, wait,
Yeah, the
what?
woman said that.
Yeah, Eve, I think it was.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
she just, as you say, what was it? She gets a dart in the heart.
Yeah. Yeah, she got the dart in the heart.
And that's the thing, because first of all, that exchange was really dumb because she said you didn't have enough blood left in you for a pulse.
Yeah.
She was like blinking her eyes, and it was just a dumb. It sounds like a cool line, but it's really not if you think about it for more than 2 seconds. But also, again, I can't forgive them for getting rid of Carla Gugino. But if you're going to do that, at least have the scene make sense, because she just basically sits back as she's takes the dart in the heart. There's no struggle. There's just kind of like well, I guess it's the part where you're going to kill me now. I'm like, what? Like, get up,
Her
fight,
friend.
take a swing, run, fly away. I don't know, but there was just nothing.
No.
I don't know if they were trying to subvert expectations or go, hey, we're trying to do this differently, because you have Lucy Liu in your film. You have a story about vampires, which they don't use the word vampire. And these folks don't have fangs. They use a blade to cut the jugular before they drink their blood.
I noticed there were no teeth. I'm like, they're vampires.
No. I mean, Lucy Liu's character Sadie does gnaw on the one guy's arm till she draws blood. But for the most part, our main bad guys, that's how they drink the blood, is they cut with a blade. And even Lucy Liu, Sadie, when she gets the hitchhiker, she has the blade, which she stole from one of the other vampires, rather than fangs. You know.
You see, now I'm thinking this would be a much cooler movie if they'd taken out the supernatural angle altogether, and Lucy Liu is just on the trail of a group of people who think that they're vampires. I don't know, but yeah, the more you guys talk about it, I'm like, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of like vampness in here, except for the fact that they don't. I mean, she had to die in order to come back and be part of this thing, but otherwise, yeah, they're just kind of people.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even go as far as calling it a popcorn film. It's just something you play in the background while you're doing something else.
Like Ian was.
Yes, exactly. It's the perfect Twitter scroll movie.
Well, because there's nothing really investing you into this. All of everything that's happening with the characters is just surface level stuff for the most part. Like, we do get, like I mentioned, a couple points where Sadie regrets drinking blood, which we only see her do twice. But other than that, everything's just surface level. I mean, even when they introduce Arturo, who rescues her, brings her back from the dead again, basically, but basically heals her, talks about, here, take this jug of blood, you'll need this. You'll have to wait. He's dropping some serious like Mr. Miyagi vibes. But again, what training? We never get what training he gave her. And then at one point, there's this throwaway line that I think Bishop, James Darcy's character, the main bad guy, throws away is, "Oh, did Arturo send you? Oh, are you just, doing his dirty work or whatever?" And you're just like, wait, what storyline is this? Arturo's a vampire and he's trying to take over, and it's mentioned once, and that's it.
And he just seemed more like a retired guy, and eventually Lucy Liu kills him before she takes off, and I'm like, why?
Well, this reminds me of a movie we talked about earlier in the month, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which also dealt with a mentor character who it turns out is a vampire. But to your point, Mark, in that movie, the mentor vampire becomes central to the plot. He shows up in multiple places. He's important to the end. He's important to the very end. This thing is just random. I almost get the feeling that Seth Graham-Smith may have seen this movie and said, no, I got to write the better version of this.
Well, even the rape revenge angle is handled, I don't want to say carelessly, but definitely not
Honestly,
as
it's more implied.
yeah. You're right. It's more implied, and again, they did some creative cuts and such, like they were trying to be more creative than they were actually getting across any type of emotion, because you're still like, this scene should be having a bigger impact on me than it does, and it's handled again, just juggling like this mess. Like, we talked about this before, Ian, a while back. When we were kids, in that you had the ooze, where you had ooze, like, in like, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
they brought it back where you could cover your, creatures, and they had devices and such. He-Man had thing where you poured the ooze and it poured all over your action figure.
The
And as long as
slime
you,
pit, yes.
Oh,
the
yeah.
slime pit. And as long as you didn't do Moss Man, you were okay. But if you put Moss Man in a slime pit, you're sitting there scrubbing the. Now, anyway, the storyline and everything of this is like trying to hold ooze in your hand, but your fingers are open, so it just keeps oozing. And so you try to grab it, and it oozes. Your hands keep trying to mold the ooze, which you can't, and it just gets more and messy as it goes along. And that's what this script for this film really is.
Yeah, but the difference, though, is that, Mark, when the ooze is running through your hand, it's at least exciting, right? Because you're like, is it going to get on my carpet? Am I going to have to, like,
Oh.
scrub Moss Man? Like, what's going on? In this movie, like you brought up Kill Bill earlier that Lucy Liu is in. They're pretty much identical movies. You've got a woman who's on a path of revenge against these very colorful, very kind of different, creatures, I guess you could say. But they put up her prey, the people that she's stalking. They put up a fight. They give her the fight of her life. There's tension. There's unfolding mysteries as the story goes along. This thing has none of that. It's just blank-faced Lucy Liu shows up, confronts alleged vampires, none of whom really put up a fight until you get to, like you said, Mako and kind of the last guy, I guess, maybe not really, but it's just so. It's like, hey, what if we had a vampire action movie about vampires or action? Yeah, let's greenlight that. Ghost House Pictures.
Don't forget the boobies.
Well, and then there's
Yes.
nudity.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to have the nudity in there.
Tons
So
of it.
yeah, they're like,
Not
there's
that
not
I'm
a.
complaining, but I don't think it was necessary.
Here's a question. I remember one scene where Lucy Liu is like, and it was to the point where I was wondering if it was even a body double. Did you guys watch like an unrated cut of this movie? Because I don't remember there being that much like full-on nakedness in this thing.
No, there was a lot of nakedness. I watched it on
I remember
Amazon.
the girl
Yeah.
the girl at the bar
Mhm.
that you see there's not a lot left of the imagination there, but was Lucy Liu like all kinds of
She's
undressed in this
naked at
thing?
least. She's naked at least 3 times in this film.
Jesus,
Well,
maybe I should have
I was
stopped
also-
scrolling Twitter.
Oh. No, I was gonna say I was surprised by that because in at least all of the earlier movies of hers that I had seen, she always kept her clothes on.
Right, and that's what surprised me when I was watching this, because I watched the version on Amazon Prime, because I've got Prime, so it didn't cost me anything to watch it. And
Except
the
your time.
Except, well, there's time, yeah. But watching it, it surprised me how much Lucy Liu did show up sans clothing, which you're right. She normally didn't have roles like that. And that's what I'm like, I don't know if this was supposed to be the edgy film that she was trying to make to kind of, for whatever reason. I don't know if they were trying to go for, hey, we're making a vampire movie that's not an actual vampire movie, but it's vampires, but we're not saying it's vampires. We're not going to give all the characteristics of vampires, but it's a vampire film. But that's how we're being different.
Here's the thing though. I think I might have watched the regular cut because I'm looking on Amazon now, and there are two different. There's an unrated version, and then there's the regular thing that you can watch. I probably didn't watch the unrated version because I thought, oh my god, wow. How long? No, seriously. How long was the version that you guys watched?
I don't.
I don't remember offhand.
Because the unrated version, it says here, is 2 hours and 2 minutes.
I don't think it was that long.
No, it wasn't.
could be
I don't
wrong.
think it was. I'm not sure if that's how long
Okay. Because the one
it
I watched was
but-
an hour 37, so I don't know.
Yeah, but well, it might have been while you were scrolling then. But she at least 3 different times is sans clothing, which because it surprised me, and that's the only real reason why I remember. Because I was like, "Holy wait, this is Lucy Liu," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's out of character for the roles she normally plays."
Here's the thing, Mark. I love Lucy Liu. I think she's a very attractive woman. But this movie is so bad that I am not going to go back and scroll through to find the quote unquote good parts. Just going to leave it alone.
I mean, and it kind of, I don't know if that's my fault, but I had kind of like this classy image in my mind. And then she does this, and I'm like, you're not who I thought you were.
What, someone who needs money? No.
You're right. It is. There are so many things out of character. That's what this film should actually be called: Rise Out of Character, because everything in this film is out of character for what you would expect from the main actress and what she does and the role she has, to the main plot, to your villains who are out of character to what you might expect. I mean, everything in this film is like adjacent to what, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for original different takes on a movie, but there are some elements that you expect and you kind of want to have in your film because, yeah, I wanted to see some badass Lucy Liu fighting in this. She's a vampire. You've got vampire villains. It's a natural thing. Let's see a sword fight in here. Let's see some badass martial. We get the one brief brutal fight between her and Mako, who's Bishop's basically butler, and that's about it as far as any brutal fight. I'm like, how are you wasting this much talent that you have in Lucy Liu in a film that could be potentially very badass instead of mediocre? It's baffling.
I can't get over the fact that morgue door got kicked open because, look, the agreement that Sadie has with Michael Chiklis's character is, after all of this is over, I want you to kill me. And that spoke to me as an audience member. Please just make it stop, and I want to die.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was a nice little bit in there where she'll help him kill his daughter's killer, and then he kills her. I liked that little bit, and I think in the hands of a different director and a different script, that's got some weight to it. That's got some foreboding floating over the heads of our main characters. We've seen that before, but that always adds an interesting element to when you have two people working together, but eventually, once this gets resolved, one of them's got to die.
Right, and it is kind of interesting because usually that's more antagonistic. In this one, it's like, yeah, we're going to solve this, and then I want you to kill me, not because you hate me, just because, can you do me a favor? And then it's kind of, there's some tension at the end. Sebastian Gutierrez, writer-director, was one of the writers on Snakes on a Plane, which came out the year before this. I just want to throw that out there. Yeah.
And that one, that's because he wasn't the sole writer of it, I think.
Do you think Lucy Liu signed up to this? Like, was this like an M. Night Shyamalan situation where before the movie comes out, there's all this hype, and so he like cuts deals for his next movie? So Snakes on a Plane, there's a lot of hype for that. So maybe he's like, look, I'm a writer on this thing. I'm directing something next and writing. Hey, Lucy Liu, be in my movie. She's like, sure. And then Snakes on a Plane comes out and bombs, but she's already under contract. So now she has to be in whatever crap that she agreed to be in.
It's possible
here.
It's possible. I mean, his credits to Snakes on the Plane are deleted extended scenes. So lots of his parts may have been cut that he did write. That's how it's credited on IMDb for Snakes on a Plane. He's credited with. Oh no, there we go. There's screenplay. I gotta expand it out. I hate IMDb's new thing. The thing is, he wrote Gothica,
Was that
which
Kate Beckinsale or no?
no,
Or
that was Halle Berry.
Halle Berry. Okay.
That was in 2003.
I
That
didn't
was.
like that one either.
I thought it was all right, but maybe it was because of the script and Halle, but
Yeah,
it just
those innocent women.
it started to feel that way because he also wrote The Eye, which came out the next year.
Oh,
Uh,
Wait,
with Jessica Alba.
yeah, the
Oh.
remake of
Where
the
she-
Japanese, or I think it was
Yeah,
a Japanese film.
It was a remake off of the Japanese film to where a woman gets a transplant in a new experiment to get her vision back, but she gets the eyes of a killer, and so she ends up seeing.
Oh, that's a ripoff of Body Parts.
See, I thought you were talking about. I got confused with Eye of the Beholder with Ashley Judd and Ewan
Oh.
McGregor.
No,
I don't know if
no.
you ever had the displeasure of watching that movie.
Darn.
I saw that in a
No.
theater. It was me and my friend in a completely empty auditorium, and we laughed our asses off. It was so fun, but it was hilariously bad and boring. The opening shot of that movie is, I think, Ewan McGregor looking through a telescope or something. So you a big close up of his eye, and then the title just says "Of the Beholder." I'm like, oh god.
Oh no,
This
I
is one
think
of
I
those
own
movies.
that, but I've never watched it.
Well, now you have
You
something
know-
to look forward to.
The thing is,
I didn't know
for
any better.
for his body of work, though, it is interesting that he wrote Snakes on a Plane because
Based
he
on
wrote. Well, no, he wrote the movie Judas Kiss, but he wrote a film just before Gothica called Sea Creature with Russell Sewell and Carla Gugiano. In Ireland, two carnies abduct a mermaid and decide to take her to America. In their sea route, the seductive and mysterious creature reveals an uncontrollable darker side. I remember watching this one, actually.
Yeah.
Not really great, but... Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm like, I've been wanting to watch that one. It's kind of like when they did a resurgence of like those older films, like they had The Day the World Ended, Teenage Caveman, How to Make a Monster.
Yeah. I remember watching Mermaid. It was all right. It was interesting, the storyline, in different take on your mermaid character. But there you have a woman character in peril of sorts. Gothica had a depressed psychiatrist played by Halle Berry, who ends up as a patient in the asylum with no memory of where she is. So you have that female in trouble. You've got Snakes on a Plane, which is out of character because then he does Rise Blood Hunter, which is female character peril. The Eye, female character peril. Movie after that called Woman in Trouble, which is about a day in the life of 10 seemingly desperate women. I'm seeing a trend here. It's all I'm saying with this director. He did Electra Lux, a movie. He wrote the characters for the life of a porn actress. Electra Lux gets turned upside down when she finds out she's pregnant. So there's this
You
weird
can still
trend.
work and have your porn baby with you.
It's just interesting. He seems to write a lot of female-driven stories. He did a movie called Elizabeth Harvest with Carla Gugiano in it again. She's in like all his films. I think she's married to him. Maybe an extremely wealthy and brilliant scientist has a nasty habit of brutally killing his wife, cloning her, marrying her again, and then repeating the process.
What?
I just realized I didn't understand that.
A movie called Elizabeth Harvest he wrote, which is basically about apparently a guy who clones his wife after he kills her, marries his wife, kills her again, and then clones her, and then marries her, and then kills her again. So there's this trend with this director, it seems like. And I don't know if maybe that's just the niche he's decided to try for and just come up short every time. But yeah, I was hoping for more from Rise Blood Hunter. I want to say Rise of the Blood Hunter, because of all the elements in here, but it just comes up way too short for me. And it's sad because again, people that I like are in this movie.
Yeah, it's the most disappointing cameo collection I think I've ever seen. Because every time someone shows up, I'm like, oh, I love that. What are they doing in this movie?
It's
Nothing.
Well, like doing a bad job is what I meant.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is, I don't even know that they're doing a bad job. They're doing a really good job with terrible material, except for Lucy Liu. I'm talking about like the supporting characters and
Right.
cameos.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Robert Forster, just as a guy in a bar trying to pick up a woman, in those 3 minutes, you're like, that's Robert fucking Forster. He's great. Not even trying to like play a badass or anything, just playing a regular guy that I wanted the entire movie to be about him.
It should have been.
Yeah.
He goes home and he's depressed because he got outbought.
By Lucy
Yeah.
Liu. Yeah.
There you go.
Or he inadvertently gets caught up in a not vampire world. You know, his character. He ends up seeing something or knowing something, and who knows? Lucy Liu's character ends up trying to protect him because he's seen something or something. I don't know. You made it interesting to have Robert Forster there more than 3 minutes because his character.
Yeah.
In 3 minutes is far more interesting than the majority of the other characters we end up meeting in this.
Yeah.
As we went along.
I mean, like as far as Sadie, the only thing I really learned about her was she likes wearing blue.
She does. She does like wearing blue. Because, if she wore red, that would make her evil, I guess. I don't know. Maybe.
Carla Gugino wore red.
Wore evil.
She wore. Ooh, I like that. She wore evil.
Oh, that's a good noir title.
That is.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. That's a great pulp novel title. She wore evil. You'd have that. I'd see the cover too, to where she's, a woman in like a bright red dress or red overcoat, trench coat, walking down the street. The guy, in the corner, trying to the PI around the corner, looking over his shoulder, waiting for her to show up, and and as she's walking in the shadow, it looks like a little bit of a devil silhouette, like she's got a little devil tail, but you don't see it in the picture. It's just in the shadow of the street light. That's the solo street light that's coming down. So there you go. See, I think we got a winner here, Kara. You're right. She wore evil. I like this. There you go. Copyright spoiler room. She wore evil. There you go. It's not going to be a movie. It's just going to be a book cover. I'm just going to design the book cover.
Hey, Mad Heidi started out as a goof, as like just a movie poster.
That's
and
very
like,
true.
Hey, I think this could be a movie, and it was.
That's true. I still have to see that yet, so it's on my list for sure. But what's not going to be on probably a lot of people's list is Rise Blood Hunter. If you're a Lucy Liu fan and this is missing in your collection, I could say you could watch it, so you could say you've seen it. But it really just it whiffs it. It's like me in archery class during PE, during the segment in Phi Ed when you had to shoot archery, and I just like completely missed the middle. I would shoot and it'd be over here in the hay or in the white part, or maybe occasionally you get into like the blue or the yellow, but you never actually hit it in the middle. For me, that's what this film is. It's like all these arrows are missing the obvious part of the target.
So you're not getting the dart in the heart. You're getting it like other places.
No,
No, I was thinking at one point this could have been a really good modern noir, because you have her, the reporter investigating, then she becomes the vampire who's trying to hunt or track people down, and I'm like, I mean, those two genres together I think would have worked well. Instead it's just this weird smear of different sauces and you can't really tell what it used to be.
Yeah. which I'm wondering how much maybe ended up, like you said, there's the director's cut of 2 hours, which my version wasn't that long either. So I'd be interested to see the unrated, but maybe it's just extended more bloody scenes or more victims. But it just felt like there was a lot cut out or revised in this movie. Like there was supposed to be more, and they made some creative decisions in post production that just didn't end up working, or they ran out of budget. One of the two, maybe. I don't know.
I'm
It's
just imagining
hard to say.
what if Robert Forster had played the cop whose daughter had been in the cult?
Yeah, why not have Robert Ford? Don't get me wrong, I like Chickless, but you know, and I understand because what was it, 2007? Wasn't he doing Shield? Or
Possibly, or maybe it had just ended. That show was on for a while, so he might have been doing that at that point.
you know, because again, you've got Lucy Liu, who at this point in 2007 was in a lot of big movies, and then you had Chickless in here as well, who's in here as well, and well, he had just come off of doing Fantastic Four as Ben Grimm. So, I mean, he had been in a big movie. Lucy Liu had been in some big movies. They get them casted for this movie, Rise. And unfortunately, with just this much talent, you need a script, folks. This is why the writers are on strike. Okay. Not because of Rise, but because of the fact of you can have all these great elements and interesting elements, but if you don't have a solid backbone, which is your screenplay, it's gonna be really hard to make an interesting film.
No, I'll blame the writer's strike on Rise. I think it was just so shitty that its impact reverberated throughout the years and brought Hollywood to a halt.
Oh yeah, he was doing Shield. He was doing he was doing Shield as well. So because he did the voice of they made a Shield video game apparently. And he was the voice in that. Go figure.
Wow.
Yeah, that's odd actually. But so yeah, there's all these things here that just Final thought, Carl. Would you recommend it to anyone at all?
Um, if you're just a person that enjoys vampire films or Lucy Liu, that's pretty much the only reason for watching this. But I would say put it on mute and have your radio on.
Watch the subtitles. There you go. Uh, Ian, we know how you felt, but go ahead. Give a final thought with Rise Blood Hunter.
No, no.
No.
That's my final thought. Is just no.
And we've reached that point, that milestone in spoiler room history, to where we actually have a film that everybody, I think, kind of agrees that just isn't that good. I tried, and this is like my second time watching it, and this time around, I don't quite remember the first time I watched it how I felt, but this time around watching it, I'm just like, wow, this is like a Cliff's Notes of an actual movie somewhere in here. And it's unfortunate because I think there was potential for something that could have become bigger with a different writer. You needed a different screenplay. You had all these other elements. Even if you want to make a not vampire movie, I get it. That's fine. That's okay. You could do it. It's been done. But do it better than this. Give me something interesting, because that's what I think is really lacking in the film by the end of it. Is there really isn't anything interesting. You don't get like even some exposition of mythos of where these people came from, why, anything. Give me something other than just this surface level, shallow husk of a possible good movie.
Well, I think, and here's my real final thought. I mentioned that I was like scrolling Twitter and reading stuff while it was going on. I rarely do that. because I like to be engaged with movies, even movies that bore me. I'll give them my full attention. But occasionally this will happen. I'll just get so distracted that I don't give it my full attention. But occasionally, what happens on those occasions is I'll be embarrassed because something will grab my attention, and I'll go back and I'll, give it a fair shake, and I'll rewind through the quote unquote boring parts, and maybe I'll find something that I missed when I was kind of tuned out, and I'll enjoy what the rest of the movie has to offer. Not in this case. Like once I tuned out, I was like, there's no reason to go back in. In fact, it was one of those weird kind of time warp things. Like, oh, this thing is almost over, right? No, I have 30 more minutes to go. Oh,
I won't lie. I checked the timeline from time to time.
yeah.
Yeah, and you think things will pick up once you get Sadie connected with the detective whose daughter was killed by vampires. When Michael Chiklis and Sadie finally, and Lucy Liu finally get together and they finally team up, you think it's gonna be more interesting, and she gets knocked out again, and you're like, what?
I get knocked out and I get up again.
And the vampires seem to keep people upside down to drain their blood forever. I mean, we see this, but there's a lot of missing pieces to a lot of things in here. So there you have it, folks. Rise, Blood Hunter. Take it as you will. If you do enjoy it, mad props to you. Unfortunately for all of us, it's probably not one I will not ever revisit again. So, and that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe so you can catch all of our wonderful stuff here on Special Mark Productions. And this is now where I give my wonderful crew the license to shill. So please shill away. Kara, ladies first. Let us know where we can find your stuff at, please.
I'm on YouTube at Horror Retrospective, same as my title or my little title down there at Horror Retrospective. This Saturday, 2 Central, I'm doing a film discussion about I forgot.
Well, last week you did Megan, right?
Mm-hmm. We've already done Cocaine Bear. We were thinking about doing it's just not coming to me. I have it written down, but I guess you'll find out because it's a mystery stream.
It'll be a surprise, so you will have to tune in to find out what it is on Horror Retrospective on the YouTube. Is it just you on the live stream, or do you have other people with you usually?
I would be having, I believe it's Hey Internet Eric that's joining me this Saturday.
Cool. Yeah, I've watched a couple, and they're fun. After the fact, because they get archived, correct? You just leave them. Stay on your channel.
Yeah, I leave them there, and I always invite people to go back and check out the playback if they missed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tend to miss it because Saturdays just I'm very busy, but very interesting discussions. And check it out, folks. Horror Retrospective, the live stream. A lot of fun, a lot of interesting takes on horror films. So,
and usually I know what I'm discussing that week.
you know now you're leaving it a mystery on purpose. See, so you want people to tune in so they can find out. It'll be a surprise, and then people will find out, and they're like, "Holy crap, she's talking about that movie." See, but you can only do that if you tune into her live stream and subscribe. So don't forget to subscribe to her channel too. Thank you, Kara, for joining us. Always a pleasure. And Ian, what do you got?
I got Kicking the Seat, which is my website and YouTube channel. I am Ian Simmons. I do movie reviews and interviews and all that good stuff, live streams. Kind of put the pause on live streams for a couple weeks because I went on vacation. I think I'm going to be talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny maybe next week if I can wrangle some people and find a date and time that works because it's July 4th and all that good stuff. But come check it out. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Love to have folks watch/listen in. And I'm here Mondays as well. Most of the time enjoying the movies that we discuss, but always enjoying the discussions themselves.
Well, thank you. It means a lot that you both are here, and we've had folks tuning into our live stream tonight. Thank you for those few folks who have tuned in. Always appreciate the live stream and live watchers there. And I appreciate my crew members, Cara and Ian. Always a pleasure having you both on the show. Means a lot to me that anybody wants to come on the show and listen to me ramble. If you want to listen to me even more ramble, check out specialmarkproductions.com. We got a lot of stuff there. And next month, we're stocking up. Yes, that's right, folks. We are covering four films that involve the stock market. More interesting than you might think.
I'm excited for next month. Yeah.
We've got an interesting slate of films for next month, which include Secret of My Success, Trading Places, Wall Street, and Wolf of Wall Street, which was our perfect 10 pick from this month for next month. So yeah, should be interesting conversations. I think I've seen all those films except Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street was the one I have not seen yet. I've seen Wall Street once, but I've not actually seen Wall Street with Michael Douglas.
No, the Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, Wolf of Wall Street. Okay. Well, we'll definitely, hopefully be able to coordinate it so we can have you on, Cara, for that one. And all our live listeners, please come back next week. We'll be here Monday again at 9:30 Central Time, talking films. So until then, we'll just say good night, everyone.